We'll start with bringing energy into our center, first with breath. So let's have one hand over the lower abdomen, the other hand on top. And start by slowing the breath down. So the earth element, as we go through our little sequence today, has a lot to do with our digestion, of course, how we take in information, take in food, break it down, and assimilate it. And by strengthening the earth element, we're strengthening our ability to digest more efficiently. And slowing the breath down really does help put us into a parasympathetic nervous system state. And when our body feels more grounded, we have more space between the breath, the space between the thoughts starts to grow. So if you didn't already know this, I think the brain, uses something like 60% of the glucose we take in. So a lot of stuff happening. So the mind uses a lot of qi. So we can help kind of cultivate preservation of qi by slowing the thoughts down and by slowing the breath down and moving into more space between the thoughts. We can start to descend some of the energy that we kind of use up. And oftentimes with thoughts that are ruminating, it's, 70 or 80% of the thoughts we have today were 70 or 80% of the thoughts we had yesterday and the day before. So a lot of repetitive thoughts that really probably aren't necessarily helping our energy. So by slowing the breath down, descending energy, we're actually preserving energy, right? We're putting it and storing it more into this area, the lower dantian. And then before we go into, we'll go into knocking on the door of life. But first, let's start waking up this energy center of digestion. So let's actually just gently knock right over the belly button. Just starting to activate and wake up all of those internal organs that help us break things down and process. And then let's come up to the solar plexus. It's a little higher than the belly button. When things become stagnant, we don't feel good in the digestive system when things aren't moving efficiently or as well as we wish they would. So we're just activating these organs to help bring in energy. Now let's go over to the right side, your right. And then we'll just work our way up and down. So this is the space where the liver and the gallbladder, part of the large intestine, the small intestine are over here. And then we'll come over now to the left. Same thing, up and down the left side. So the spleen is kind of tucked up under the ribs over here, the stomach, and then another part of the large intestine, small intestine. And then below the belly button now. And then place your hands over your lower abdomen for a moment, just starting to feel, we start activating the internal organs, the energy in the abdominal cavity. Right? We may already start to feel a little bit more energized. And then imagine that you're sending, there's a connection between the belly button and the door of life. So when we bring in energy and we start knocking across the abdomen, we're actually helping to send and reinforce that connection from the belly button to the space called the door of life. So now let's go into knocking on the door of life. Since we just first activated the energy in the abdomen, now we'll activate its counterpart in the door of life, the Ming Men, helping to disperse now the energy. We've woken it up, we've activated it. Now we're helping to disperse it now through the body. Some of the space we've already knocked across, so it's getting a double massage here today. And then let's come up just below the collarbone. Let's activate those lungs. And then all the way to the top of the shoulders. And then let's come back down below the collarbone. And all the way back down to the waist. And then let's release, and now we'll just go into a gentle movement called water waves. So just move, still moving from the hips and the waist. We're just rotating, letting the arms be nice and relaxed, just floating through space. Breathing nice and evenly and slowly. And then we'll start to unwind here. And let's just pause. Close your eyes. Just starting to feel all that tingling sensation that's starting to move through the body, that qi. And then let's go into spinal cord breathing, but let's do a little variation, bear walking. So we're going to turn over to your left. Let's bring the hands just below the chin as you look up, and you're coming to the ball of the opposite foot. And then exhale back down through the center. Now let's turn over to the right. Hands come up, so the elbows come up. Hands just below the chin, opening up the chest, and then exhale. So it's a turn. We're opening up the front of the body, and then exhale down. And then inhale. And exhale. Just a slight variation. We're still flexing, extending the spine. Maybe the emphasis here is a little more on extending up and a mini exhalation down or flexion. A couple more to each side. And then let's bring everything back to the center. Okay, let's go into a wider stance now. And let's get a little spine action right to left. Right, so we did rotating with knocking the door of life, flexion and extension, and now laterally. So hands on your thighs, shifting the weight from the right foot to the left foot. Again, the shifting happens first down below. So the hip shift, and then the torso is nice and relaxed. The upper body is nice and relaxed. And it just rolls over so your head arrives last. Putting your awareness on your spine, even though we can't see it necessarily, we have that inner vision, that proprioception. Just imagine what it's doing as we're rolling side to side. All of those pieces of the vertebrae, right, getting a little more flexible as we move and breathe. And then let's come to the center and let's just fold forward for a moment. So you can keep, if it's a mini fold, your hands can be on your thighs and you're just bending forward, or you can bring your hands all the way to the ground, in which case, let your upper body really relax here. The kidney and the bladder channels run right through the hamstring. The inner hamstring is where the kidney channel. And then grab one wrist with your opposite hand and let's slowly roll all the way up. And then reaching way, way up. Maybe press your hips forward slightly so you get a nice stretch through the whole front of the body. And then keep a nice slight bend in those knees. And let's exhale forward and down. And then roll all the way back up. Nice and slow. Stretching through the entire front of the body here. And then exhale as we fold. A nice stretch through the whole back of the body. We'll do that a few more times. Just feeling the strength of your thighs as you come forward, helping to brace. And then the flexibility of your spine as we roll all the way back up. And one more time. Exhale forward. And let's roll up. Extending and then releasing. Oh, yeah, that feels good. Okay, let's come to a more neutral stance again. And let's do a little stretch for the head, neck, and shoulders. We haven't done stretching the dragon's tail in a while, I feel like. So we're going to start with our palms over to your left. Take a nice inhale. And then as we exhale, push away from you as you turn and look over the right shoulder. So inhale, draw in, and then exhale, pushing away, and then turn and look over your right shoulder. Nice and slow. Even stretch through those fingers. So you feel a nice stretch through the whole forearm into the hands. Our fingers need some love. Maybe see if you can look a little bit further over that right shoulder. Just Maybe gently pushing through or past just where you think your stopping point is. Can you go a millimeter further? And then relax. And then this time, let's hold the arms over to the left, turn and look right. And then we'll just pause here for a moment. Take a nice inhale and exhale. Maybe noticing something that's over here on the side of the room that you haven't noticed before. Just taking in even the peripheral vision. And then exhale, drop the arms down for a moment. Just notice all of that flow through the left arm. And now we have to balance, of course. So now hands over to the right, excuse me. You're going to inhale, exhale, push away, and then turn and look over your left shoulder. And then inhale. And exhale. And inhale. Just breathing in. Again, stretching those arms over to the right, extending those fingers out, and then looking left. And on the next exhalation, at the top of the next exhalation, let's pause. So our head's still over to the left, and then just take a nice slow inhale and a nice slow exhale, and see if you can maybe rotate your head just a millimeter more over to the left. Taking in maybe something you haven't noticed over on the side of the room. I see a spot that needs to be cleaned. And then let the arms drop down. Again, close your eyes. Just feel all of that space we just created through the neck, the shoulders, the arms, the fingers. And then from here, let's do some shaking. Let's shake everything out. And since we'll be doing some flows today that correlate more with the earth element, let's do healing sounds for the earth element. So the more whisper version is, again, like you can fog up a window. So the more whispery or even inaudible we make those sounds, they're more affiliated with the emotional aspect of an element in the organs. And the louder we make it, it tends to resonate more with the actual physical organ. So the sound that we'll make today is for the earth element, but it's going to be whoo. So take a nice inhale through the nose, and then whoo. And then inhale. Imagine it's having a resonance, that sound's having a resonance through the spleen, the stomach, helping digestion. And inhale. Let's do one more. And then start to slow down Okay, now that our earth element has been activated, let's go into the first flow we'll do is um, pulling up the earth. So we'll start with our arms in, lower, embrace the tree. Just feel your feet rooted into the ground. Feel just as much as you're rooting down, you're also extending the crown of the head up towards the sky. So we're just moving in two different directions simultaneously to create a little elongation through that center column of the body. And then on the inhale, we'll raise the hands coming up. They turn so they face the sky. And then exhale the arms down the sides, back to the earth. So it looks a little like Buddha holding up the earth, except the difference here is we're drawing energy up and then we're extending the arms out to the sides and all the way back down. And as we come down, bend the knees ever so slightly. And then as we inhale, we get just a little bit taller. Inhaling all the way up and then exhale out and down. And imagine as we inhale, we're just drawing energy up from the earth like a golden light coming all the way up. And as we exhale, just imagine that your fingers are tracing this little golden circle that's surrounding you. As we inhale, we're drawing that earth energy in. And as we exhale, that golden light, we're tracing now this circle of protection around you. Grounding down as we pull up and exhale. Pulling energy from the earth upward, like we're drawing energy up the roots of a tree. Right, we send our energy to the earth, right, to be composted, and then we draw in all this nourishment, this transformed energy that we want to bring in, integrate, and nourish us. Let's bring our hands now into a chi ball for a moment. And then we're going to step forward with your left foot. So your left foot is out at an angle. And now turn so the palms are facing down. Keep a little bend in the knees. We're going to be shifting the weight from the front foot to the back foot. This is called grinding tofu. So it starts, we're going to rotate slightly over to the left. Okay, so your knees and your legs are static. We're just turning slightly to the left and then transfer the weight to the front foot as your arms extend outward and then rotate from your waist. You're going to come around over to the right, transfer the weight to the back foot as you draw the arms back in towards the center and then rotate over to the front, slightly to the right, front foot, transferring the weight to the front foot, extending the arms around in a circle, and then coming back. So we're just rotating the body slightly, letting the arms extend out, coming around in a big circle, transferring the weight to the back foot as we pull in. Like we're a human KitchenAid mixer. And we're just allowing that earth energy below to be stirred. And then we're bringing right into this area. The earth element is associated with our center right here. So we're just extending the arms out. That's the exhale. And the inhale is we're drawing in. So transferring the weight, exhaling the arms out. And then inhale, transferring the weight to the back foot as you draw in. And let the arms be light here. So we're pumping. We're actually this moving and shifting the weight from the front foot to the back foot. We're actually pumping that earth energy. And then the arms just float out and then back in. Exhale out and inhale in. Letting the shoulders be relaxed. Release any tension in your forearms and your fingers. And then we'll step back with your left foot. And then we'll step forward with your right foot. And we're going to be going in the opposite direction now. So let's start with palms facing the earth. Shift the weight. Rotate slightly to the right. Shift the weight to the front foot. Arms extend out, around, over to the left. And then draw the arms in as we transfer the weight to the back foot. So nice circle out. And then back in. Just feeling that space between the palms, right, as we're moving through and connecting with the energy of the earth below. Exhale, floating out, and then inhale, drawing in. And on the next inhale, let's step back. So we're back into our neutral position. And now let's turn so our palms are facing one another for a moment, feeling our chi ball. And then from here, this is a variation of Embrace the Tiger, Return to the Mountain that has a little bit more emphasis on the earth element. So towards the end of our regular movement for Embrace the Tiger, Return to the Mountain, we're going to scoop down towards the earth, like we're scooping up a ball that we bring into the center. We'll move it through the center and then end with 3 inhales and exhales as the arms float up and down. Starting with Embrace the Tiger, Return to the Mountain. So we'll inhale here. Exhale, the arms float out. And then they bring the back of the hands together as we inhale, draw them up. Exhale, push forward. So this is the same movement. And then we draw the arms up as we inhale. Now, as the hands come down, they're going to spiral in and then down. And you can make this movement that we will do deep, or you can make it very small. We're going to scoop down towards the earth and then make a little ball like you're forming a big ball. And then we'll bring our hands up to right in front of the solar plexus. And then imagine that you're just solidifying that ball a little bit more by tracing the outside of it. This golden light. Just making it a little firmer. And then we're going to raise the hands right up beside the head. And then imagine that you're pouring the energy from that circle down through the center of the body. So we're going to draw the hands all the way down in front of the chest, the abdomen, through the center of the body down to the pelvis. And then we end by floating the arms up. Exhale down. 2 more times. Inhale and exhale. And one last time. Inhale and exhale. Bring the hands back into our chi ball. Inhale. And then again, exhale the arms. Come out to the sides. We inhale and bring them to the center. Inhale, rising up. Exhale, push forward. Inhale, the arms come up and around. Spiral in and then sink down as we exhale. Inhale, make a little ball. And then come up right in front of the solar plexus. We'll trace the outside of that ball, solidifying it, this golden light. And then inhale it right above the head. And then exhale, imagine that golden light right down through the center, in front of the throat, the back of the shoulders, the chest, down through the organs, down through the low back, the hips, the pelvis. And then we end those the three inhales and exhales. Arms float up and then exhale down. And once more. And then back to our chi ball for a moment. Take a nice inhale. And then we begin again. Exhale. Inhale back to the center and rise up. Exhale, push forward. And then inhale, big light all around you. And the hands spiral in. And then we'll go down, scooping up. Exhale. And then inhale right up to the solar plexus. And then inhale and let it wash all through the center of your body. That golden light just filling up all of the internal space with that healing light. And the arms float up and back down. And again. And again. Let's do that whole sequence again. We'll start with a chi ball, inhale, and then exhale, I come out. Inhale, rising up. Exhale, gently push forward. Inhale, big circle, and then we'll scoop down. Inhale, create that ball. Exhale, bring it right up in front of the center. Again, solidifying it, tracing the outside. And And then inhale. From the head, it descends right through the center of the body. And then we'll finish inhale and exhale. And a third time. I think we should do that whole thing one more time. So starting with our chi ball, inhale here. Exhale, separate. Inhale, bringing back together as we roll up on the inhale. Exhale, push forward. Inhale, big golden orb of light around. We reach down. Inhaling, scooping up, making our ball of light here. Bringing that right up into the center. Again, tracing the outside. And then inhale and exhale. And then 3 more times. We'll inhale, letting the arms be nice and relaxed. And then we'll all come back to our chi ball for a moment. Just feeling all of that activity between the hands. And then we'll finish off with Pebble in the Pond, another earth-centric movement. So we're going to glide the tailbone back in space as your arms float out in front of you. And then as you stand up straight, so bringing the pelvis back in, the arms come around in a circle back to your center. So it's an exhale, the tailbone glides back as the arms extend forward. And then inhale, bringing everything back into the center. Nice and slow. Tracing the perimeter of the space around you. Drawing energy right into the lower dantian. Cultivating the light and fire of digestion. Exhale and reach forward gently. And inhale, drawing everything back in. So the movement really comes by extending the tailbone back, and the arms naturally want to float out. And then we come back to the center on the inhale. A few more times here. And let's land our hands right on the lower abdomen, one on top of the other, and then we'll bring our feet right into the center here, just feeling all of that energy getting stored in the lower abdomen here. Just feeling that centeredness, feeling grounded. but all of the space that we've opened up for energy to flow freely inside. And when you're ready, you can crack your eyes open. She knows.